Hello, horror lovers. Today I'm going to share with you a terrifying story that might sound like an urban legend, but what if it's not? This night you'll hear about a group of brave souls who ventured into an abandoned hospital to uncover its darkest secrets. Who knows? Maybe these events aren't just a myth. So are you ready? Let's dive into the story. Chapter 1. The Abandoned Hospital Legend. Once upon a time, far outside the town, stood an old hospital. It had been abandoned for years, left to decay and fade into obscurity. But over time, stories began to spread. Locals whispered that the hospital wasn't just empty, there was something lingering inside. Some said the spirits of former patients roamed the halls, while others claimed that the dark experiments conducted within its walls had cursed the place forever. Over the years, rumors grew. People talked about strange noises coming from the hospital, late at night phantom footsteps, eerie whispers, and even the sound of faint screams. Some believed that the souls of those who had suffered there still hadn't found peace. And then, one day, 4 friends decided they would uncover the truth. They couldn't ignore the mystery any longer. They would enter the abandoned hospital, and for better or worse, they would face whatever lay inside. Chapter 2. Entering the Hospital. It was late at night when the group gathered outside the hospital, armed with nothing but flashlights and a sense of adventure. The air was thick with tension. Despite the stories, each of them tried to convince the others that they didn't believe in the legends, but deep down, they were all wondering, what if there was some truth to it? The heavy iron door creaked as they pushed it open, and they stepped inside. The moment they did, a cold draft swept over them, sending chills down their spines. It wasn't just the cold, it was something far more unsettling, something they couldn't explain. They started to move deeper into the building, the beams of their flashlights cutting through the darkness. The walls were cracked, the floor was rotting away in places. But what really made the air heavy was the silence. It wasn't the silence of a forgotten place. It felt like something was watching them. Suddenly, one of them froze. A figure, barely visible, was standing at the far end of the hall. They blinked, and when they looked again, it was gone. Was it just a trick of the light, or was something there? Chapter 3. The Terrifying Visitors. They shook it off and continued their exploration, but the atmosphere was growing heavier by the second. The silence felt suffocating, like it was pressing down on them, making it harder to breathe. Then, just as they turned a corner, they heard a loud crash. One of them screamed. Everyone rushed to help, but when they reached the spot, there was no one there. The figure they had seen earlier was gone, and the place seemed eerily empty again. One of them, eager to uncover the hospital's dark past, spotted something strange on the wall. Scratched into the old plaster were words, disturbing words that sent shivers down their spines. Whoever steps in here will never leave. Before they could fully process it, a voice rang out from the darkness. Leave. The voice echoed through the halls, bouncing off the walls, and for a moment they couldn't tell where it was coming from. A cold, sinister chill ran through them, and they knew they weren't alone. Chapter 4. The Missing Friend and the Spirits. As they rushed to find their missing friend, they realized something terrifying. The hospital was changing. The walls seemed to shift, and the air grew even colder. The whispers they heard weren't just sounds. They were words spoken in the language of the lost souls trapped inside. Every corner they turned felt like it led them deeper into the hospital's twisted, decaying heart. The more they searched, the more they felt watched, hunted. The spirits of those who had died there had never left, and now they were growing angry. Suddenly, a light flickered from one of the rooms, and through the darkness, a figure appeared. Its face was a twisted, featureless mass, but its eyes, cold and empty, locked onto them. It said only one thing: leave. They were no longer just investigating a myth, they were the prey. But the more they tried to escape, the more the hospital seemed to hold them in its grip. Chapter 5. Escape and the Final Revelation. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they managed to escape the hospital. As they stumbled into the cold night air, they looked back. The door had somehow closed behind them, as if the hospital itself had sealed them inside. But even as they stood outside, they could feel the weight of what had just happened. Those who had made it out weren't the same. Their eyes told a different story now. Something had followed them, and they couldn't escape it so easily. From that night on, the abandoned hospital became more than just a dark piece of the town's history. It was a place where something lingered, a place where the past refused to be forgotten, and those who had ventured in would never be the same again. Because some things, some horrors don't stay hidden forever. So what do you think, horror fans? Was the abandoned hospital just an urban legend, or was something far darker at work? We may never know. But one thing's for sure, some mysteries are better left unsolved. If you enjoyed this tale, be sure to like, comment, and let me know which terrifying urban legends you'd like to hear next. Until then, stay safe and remember, the shadows are always watching.